Hey, welcome to On the Chain. You're here with Jeff, co-host Chip, and we have a great guest with us tonight, none other than Alex D Vlogs. Today, we're going to talk just a little bit about XRP, Ripple XRP. We want to get into the Ripple lawsuit, part dismissed, part not dismissed. There's a ton going on within that scope. Is Ripple completely out of the woods? Is the new potential incoming regulation going to propel the entire digital asset space right to the moon? I don't know. Those are things we're going to talk about today. I think we got to get ready. Let's go.
And now, the roundtable with Jeff and Chip on the chain.
And so let's go, everybody. We have Alex D Vlogs. Alex, I've been a fan for a long time, and you're one of those guys out there that has a really positive message, and especially the ending. There's always a fun surprise at the end if you get it to the end, which is my favorite thing to get us going. We're not going to do it here, but you just got to sub. You got to sub if you don't know who Alex D is, and you always give good messages. Like the last one, we're talking about dinosaurs, UFOs, XRP. They're fun to listen to. They're uplifting, and you are one of the guys out there that definitely deserves to have thousands of more subs than you have. So hey, welcome to the roundtable, my man.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate you coming to me and asking me to come talk with you and Jeff. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, and our audience too. Our audience is it's good. It's good to see other people in the community. So, we try to expose a lot of community members too, but especially ones that are doing a good job. You have your Alex D Vlogs channel, which is the links there, and we'll drop it in the chat as well. But so your thoughts overall on XRP. How did you get into it? Like how did it catch your eye?
Yeah, definitely. So it was back in a little quick study. It was back in like 2018 April. So I just missed the bull run, the 2017 bull run. I knew that Bitcoin was at 20,000, so I just texted my buddy who was an accountant, and I knew he was invested in cryptocurrencies. So he said, "Hey," I said, "Give me $5,000." Right? And he's all like, "You can make $5,000 in like a year if you just invest, right? And invest in crypto." And I was like, "Okay, let me invest $1,000 in Bitcoin." So I put my $1,000 in, and like 10 minutes after, it popped 300 points, $300, right? And I was all like, "This is it. This is my jam." I wanna put as much money as I could into cryptocurrencies, right? And of course, it's like the way that all cryptocurrency people, I believe, will come about is that they will start looking at different coins. And what I did was I looked at different coins and I said, "Hey, XRP," right? At that time, I think it was at like 90 cents. And so, I wanted to invest. I asked my buddy, the accountant friend, how much was what he thought about XRP, and he was a Bitcoin maximalist, and he was all like, "It's a banker's coin, right? It's the old Bitcoin maximalist spiel that it's not a really good coin." And so, sorry, my kid is.
I'm sure he has a lot to offer.
He is.
Bring him in.
He's all excited about the whole. As soon as you said Bitcoin, he was very silent. As soon as you said XRP, he was like
inspired. I know, he's like XRP. That's right.
He's like, he's trying to interfere now. I apologize. So I want to get into XRP. I put my money in, and I've been hodling ever since. I never stopped, and that's how I got into my XRP.
Wow.
Bag.
Nice. Nice. And then from there you get invested, and then at some point you decide that you're going to start doing some vlogs.
Yeah, no, actually I wanted to go into YouTube and understand what XRP is about, understand the different aspects of cryptocurrencies and one guy that I went to was not is a CKJ actually. He's my first crypto guy that I looked at, and I was asking questions. Nobody was answering my questions. Right? He has like 20,000 or so subscribers. Who's gonna listen to an Alex D vlogs at no subscribers? Right? So I just started making videos just so that if I got like 100 or so subscribers, maybe he'll listen to a question of mine and answer a question of mine if I had one. So that's how I started making videos, actually. That's why I made
And they're always
You
from
hear
your
that,
vehicle.
CKJ? Hear that?
Yeah, well, CKJ was like the first guy too. CKJ and Jungle were the first two that I found, and I was in there, and that's how, I met a lot of people in his chats. It was kind of cool to see a lot of the people. So from there, so you start doing it like kind of like learning and talking at the same time, where people are watching you. And one of the things that Jeff and I have always said, the people in the chat right now are some of the smartest human beings on the planet. And we do this stuff, but a lot of times we're learning as we go as well. We read about it, we learn about it. So it's cool to see what the people think. So what kind of engagement did you find, like after you started your vlog? Did you start getting some engagement with some of the community members?
Yeah, I mean, with of course CKJ and Alex Cobb. I mean, yeah, and DAI even, I got some engagement with him as well. What I thought was is the thing that with XRP, no one knows when it's gonna boom, right? No one knows. You can't listen to anyone about when XRP is gonna boom. Not even Bearable Bull, who touts it's gonna boom tomorrow, every day,
every week.
Yes.
So don't listen to anybody. Just hodl your bags and buy and hodl. That's all that you can do. I can do, right? There's nothing else that we can do.
Is that financial advice you're giving there, Alex?
Not financial advice.
Okay, just wanted to ask you because you always got to make sure that was not financial advice. Hell no, that's not financial advice.
It's not. I don't care what you do.
Oh, you got the XRP hat though.
Yeah, I got the XRP hat. My wife actually was like, I don't support XRP. I like Bitcoin, right? She's a Bitcoin.
Wait, you're married to a Bitcoin maximalist, dude?
Not necessarily. She just doesn't know anything about cryptocurrencies, and she knows Bitcoin because, of course, it's at like $10,000 or so.
So she doesn't watch your vlogs, in other words?
No, she doesn't watch my vlogs.
That's okay. My wife doesn't watch mine either. She's like, she did in the beginning, but it's like she's just like, I don't know. This thing's complicated. A lot of stuff you guys talk about. I don't really get it. So
yeah, she's not gonna know until it does boom, and she'll be like, "What to tell you?"
There will be a time when they're like, forget about all that stuff I was telling you. You know what? It was a couple years ago. Who remembers, right? No, it's like, hey, when it goes, it goes. And did you ever tell friends about it? Like any other friends? Like you had a cool accountant friend that kind of like got you into crypto. But did you start telling friends, spreading the good news of XRP? Did you get anybody else involved in it? Your family or friends?
So well, I would say more family than friends, really. Just my brother, my father, my cousin, my brother-in-law. It's all family right now that I've actually got into XRP. Anyone else, really? I've talked to friends, and they're not really at all, open to cryptocurrencies, just because cryptocurrencies, as we know, it's a $350 billion market, right? And no one knows it. We're early. We're very early.
Very early. Do they pitch you up all the time? Like, hey, Alex, what's up, man? What's up with XRP? What's XRP doing today? No,
they don't know anything. I don't tell them about. Well, there's this one guy I've been telling him. He's a coworker, and I've been saying, buy like even $100 of XRP. And he's all like, no, it's okay. But I'm thinking, guys, if you think about it, $100 of XRP right now will get you like 400 or what? Is it 400?
Yeah, well,
$500.
More than that. More like if it's a 20. I don't check the price.
23 cents right now.
Yeah.
So you're
400 or so XRP, right?
Yeah,
If it were to boom that next day at $1,000, right? That's lots of money.
It is. I told a coworker, I said, look, man, I really like you. I think this is cool. Take it for what you will. I mean, I'm going to say this because I don't want you coming to me later saying, dude, you didn't tell me anything. No one ever told me anything. Like, meanwhile, I have. But, it's like the conversation you remember and want to hear. I said, I'm just going to put it out there. Look, regulations are coming. The whole space is going to start changing over the next year or so. And look, and so he went and bought a nice bag. I was shocked. He went out and got a bag, and I was like, nice, man, nice. He goes, so what do I do with it? I go, nothing. You'll know when it's time to do something with it. I go, right now, just forget about it. Don't look at the price, you know?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Sane advice. Here's wrapped Bitcoin. WBTC is now at 10,621. All these DeFi coins are hitting the
It's amazing.
coin market cap, and it's interesting. Binance coin is now at $28. It had dropped down at its low. I think it was like around 12. I'm like, oh man, I should buy some of that Binance coin, and I
It's
never
been a
did.
successful coin for them. I mean, really, if you look at it. And, you
I
know, they had
think
a nice
so.
strategy because their strategy was if you can offset your fees on Binance, if you would pay with Binance coin. So it kind of incentivized people to buy it. And they're doing the same thing in the US as well, you go with Binance.us. And you know, for us, Alex, I mean, I don't know, is Binance.us okay with California, but it just kind of opened up. We had Catherine Coley, you know, the CEO there, on a couple weeks ago, and it finally opened up, and I was able to finally get my account going over there, which is cool. It's a nice exchange. They have a lot of cool stuff that I've been wanting to look at that, you know, just wasn't from the other two exchanges, which was Uphold and Coinbase. Do you have like an exchange that you like, or a couple exchanges that you're pretty you think are pretty cool?
I've been using Binance US. I
Mm-hmm.
like BitTrue,
Yep.
Coinbase, and Binance, the China version.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people that, you know, people have left comments. They say like, "Hey, man, I never got off there." I'm like, look, that's fine if you don't want to get off there. All you have to do is set it up with the Binance.us, move it. I go, they told you, they said get off by a certain time. If you get punched, you know, by being on an unregulated foreign exchange, that's up to you. I
Yeah,
wouldn't mess with it now that you can get a Binance.us, because a lot of people said I never did
if you
anything. I
can
mean,
move it, yeah, I'd move it.
I would move it if you can move it, because at some point that's now your responsibility. It's no longer Binance's responsibility. If you don't move it
Right
to
now.
Binance, if you're in the U.S. and you don't move it there, it's fine if you're in another part of the world. You're not touched by that. But there's a reason they had to open up Binance.us the way they did. And if you didn't
Yeah.
move it, it's like, man, that's on you. Binance is not responsible. They gave everyone plenty of time. Just saying.
So,
So
like, what do you mean when
Go
you're
Binance.
saying, just saying, you think that they're gonna turn off Binance China and take all that crypto, or
I'm
like,
not well. I'm not necessarily
No,
saying
no,
that. I'm just
I
the
think it has more to
regulation.
do with regulation, AML, KYC type stuff. So
Exactly.
if you're not buying on there, I think if you're just holding, I don't know what the deal would be with just holding over there, but it's interesting because like with Uphold, for instance, it's their responsibility to do the KYC, AML stuff. So I got a message from Uphold that said that my ID was out of date.
Yeah, me too.
Because I had it renewed. I'm like, okay, that's because from their perspective, they have to maintain the KYC. So and so Binance US has to do the same thing. Binance China probably, that's why they decided it was probably going to be best for regulatory purposes. But if you're just holding there, they can't stop you from taking it off. I wouldn't think. I
No.
think you can still. I believe. I mean, they're still operational, so you should still be able to log in and transfer off of there.
Yeah,
They're
but
not. I
I
don't
know
think they're
people
going
that
to
are
discontinue.
using it. I know they're using it. Like they're buying there. They have stuff there. I mean, they're
I'm
using
trading
it.
on it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Where
I don't know.
I need.
I don't know what the stipulation would be in that case.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's not, but I mean, hey, it's like just like anything else. It's hard to see. We saw in the last couple of days, we saw what happened to DM Logic. That was just tragic to see that. He put out a very heartfelt video where, he basically was on a board that was sanctioned by VET. Um, that's what Sunny Liu, right? VChain, and he thought he was doing one thing. It turned out he was doing another. I think he was getting a collectible, and it kind of liquidated him. And it's like, this is what scares people. This news report gets out there, so and so got liquidated, and people like they're like, kind of, they're not real excited about going into an area, especially when there's no regulations, like no KYC, AML, and worried about their keys. It's like, man, they don't want to deal with that. I think the bank's custody will change that. But I mean, do you ever hear these horror stories from your friends, Alex, where they go like, oh, but they know everyone knows Bitcoin, But what do they think? I mean, your friends, if they're not into it, that's one thing. But do they have things like, they say things like, well, I don't know about that, or I think it's going to go away, or I mean, what are some
Yeah,
of the things they say?
I think a lot of well, my buddy who I've asked to buy cryptocurrencies, they're like, he's like, oh, it's gonna go away. Bitcoin's gonna go away, and I'm like, it's been here since 2009. It's not going away. It's been here for a long time already. 10 years. If say you're married with someone for 10 years, you're gonna be there for a while.
Be there for a while, man. Yeah, it'll happen. So I wanted to jump into this lawsuit a little bit here because the ruling happened on October 2nd that the judge in the case, now it's like what Jeff said earlier, they're not necessarily out of the woods, but they did go ahead and they did partially dismiss it, but there's two counts they did not dismiss. So they had the plaintiffs filed an amended complaint in March, and they added these 7 claims, and those 7 claims were dismissed, but there was one where a decision was reached that they would not dismiss the fraud allegations, and that had to do with the plaintiffs. They failed to prove how those 17 missed statements in their complaint were true, so they couldn't prove that they were true, so they were dismissed. But the judge basically came out and said they would not dismiss the 6th and 7th causes for violations of California Business and Professions Code. It's granted with prejudice, and that had to do with the exact statement was, according to the complaint, throughout 2017, Garlinghouse sold millions of XRP on various cryptocurrency exchanges while making the statements he was long on XRP. He specifically said in 2017, I'm long on XRP. I'm very, very long. XRP as a percentage of my personal balance sheet, not long on some of the other digital assets because it's not clear to me what their real utility is. The problem of what they're really solving. If you're solving a real problem, it's a scaled problem. When I think you have a huge opportunity to continue to grow that, we've been really fortunate. Obviously, I remain very, very, very long on XRP, and here's the expression in the industry, hodl. Instead of hold, it's hodl. And I'm on the hodl side. But what the judge said was because he was liquidating millions of XRP, and because he mentioned his personal, now if he just said I'm long on XRP, but he mentioned his personal balance sheet. So it's kind of like another scenario where, in one sense, if we remember so-and-so, there was a certain somebody that was saying about a certain digital asset, saying it was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, who was that?
Yeah, do you remember who that was, Alex, who was saying that? And said,
You want me to say? No.
Yeah.
I think it's Charlie Lee, right?
Charlie Lee pulled that. Charlie Lee was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." Meanwhile, he's liquidating everything out the trunk of his multi pickup, his semi trucks, and he was liquidating at 300 and change, and basically liquidated all his bags, right?
And what was he holding? He was holding about $1 million.
I think it was more than that, Jeff. He made.
He made like 300 million, didn't he?
Something like that.
It was, yeah.
It was an obscene amount of money. Yeah, correct. But again, that was a thing where he was telling people one thing and then liquidating his bags, where people knew Garlinghouse was selling it, but it was only because he mentioned his personal. So personally, he was saying that's where they were saying it was misrepresented. Now, I don't know, Jeff. If anything comes down on that, and they say, well, personally, you were doing that, what would we see? What kind of ramifications might come out of this?
It's interesting, because over this past week, we saw some court response, settlement in some, but still open in other, with Ripple, like you just mentioned. Could there potentially be a court case against Charlie Lee? I don't know. I'm not sure if there could be. But this past week on Thursday, there was also some outcome from the Kick, from the Kick judgment. Kick has the kin token. And so, there's some lessons to be learned, from that outcome. And they're really trying to, apply and identify, the SEC versus Kick, what could happen. Because you remember, they really went after Kick, but Kick made a huge mistake. And they started raising money, and they said, we're going to take on the SEC for every other digital asset company, blockchain company out there. And they kept poking the SEC in the eye. But now it's coming, it's interesting. It's coming down to some outcome, and, whether or not they're going to be allowed to operate in the US is still, probably too early to be seen, but I think we're starting to see some positives there as well. It says, but here it says one of the most problematic aspects of the decision is the reality that Kick's distribution was planned and announced before the SEC had issued any guidance as to how the federal security law should apply to crypto asset sales. Kick had announced its plans on May 25th, 2017, began its pre-sale in June of that year, and it was not until July of that year that the SEC released the report of instigation pursuant, blah, 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 whatever, to the Section 21 of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. And so that's where, they released, then all of a sudden now they're trying to do it retroactively, which I'm sure is a problem. But the thing is that with Ripple, with Kick, with whatever company might be next, there's going to be lessons to be learned, but I think we're starting to see positive outcome. I don't think it's all negative, because they could have crushed Kick, and Kick could, instead of reading that, they could have said Kick is out of business now, completely, so I think we're moving in the right direction.
What's your thoughts, Alex?
What do you guys think? What do you think, Alex?
I think it's all you talk about regulation, right? So yeah. I think we are really close. I think we're probably about 6 months to a year away from getting that statement from SEC or whoever's supposed to give us a statement saying that XRP is not security. And once that turns on, guys, it's boom time.
It's going to be nice. I actually think it's closer than that, only because of the webinar this past week with Brian Brooks and Jay Clayton. Brian Brooks being the comptroller of the currency, who has really been a man of action. I mean, this is a guy that says something. I mean, obviously he understands cryptocurrency better than most because he was chief legal counsel when he was at Coinbase. He comes in and so now you got him commingling over there with Jay Clayton, Mr. Grumpy Jay Clayton, who's always been like, the SEC's only come out and said buying Bitcoin and Ethereum were not securities. And we're like, wait a minute, you stopped at the next one, which was XRP. So now I saw a picture of the two of them, and there's our boy Brian Brooks. He's like in there, and here's Jay Clayton, Mr. Grumpy Face. But Jay Clayton came out and he had some good things to say, and I was like, he was talking about that maybe the SEC sort of misstepped a bit back, and that they kind of weren't looking at this, and it was new. So it was kind of like he was walking back some of the earlier statements about this whole crypto currency space, but more about the blockchain space, where he was kind of going in and saying, listen, there's a lot of good things that could come out of this, right? A lot of good things that could come, and he kind of like smoothed things over a little bit because you've got Brian Brooks talking to him, and because you have so much movement in Congress with this American Compete Act, which I like. They put a lot of some of the stuff from the what was that, the cryptocurrency bill, Jeff? It was not the token taxonomy. It was some of the cryptocurrency bill, but about the U.S. being able to compete with China on an even footing. Said another way, leveling the playing field, which we hear time and time again. But I think if they were getting to that point of where they could actually pass one of these bills, because one of them did pass in the House, and Darren Soto, who Jeff and I proudly tout as a Florida representative, he's up in Orlando, but it's really cool to see. I'm really happy to see that with all the chaos going on in the U.S. right now, blah, 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 you really see that people like Warren Davidson and a lot of the same people, even Bobby Rush up in Chicago, who are for this. So they're kind of seeing that this is nonpartisan. This isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. This is an American thing. And it's like, and as America goes, so does the rest of the world. If it starts going okay here, and I think the SEC's kind of been a little bit nervous at doing the wrong thing. Suppose they come out and they go like, this is our ruling. And then they're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then they sit back, they start seeing other countries and criticism. They're like, oh, can't walk that back now. Yeah. So I think they've been very ginger in their sort of approach.
I find that overall, the U.S. itself is slow.
You're kidding.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I'm from Canada. I'm born in Canada. Came to the States in 2000. I wanted to pay a bill, and in Canada you can pay bills at the bank. This is 2000, and I was all like, "Can I pay my bill?" They're like, "You can get money to pay your bill, but we're not going to pay your bill for you." And I was like, "What is this country? This country is crappy."
But you can always pay. You can always pay it online through the bank, though. I've been
No,
doing it.
not in 2000.
Sure, you could.
You
I've been
when?
paying it since the 90s. Yeah, you could do. Well, what they did was well, here's how they did it. It wasn't like they basically from your account took a bank check and mailed it for you. That was their online payment system. It's not like it is today, but you could do it because I set up all my stuff. I remember specifically.
Is that even in 2000 you could do that?
It was in 2000 because
Really?
I set.
I
Yes.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Those
because-
California banks, you know.
Yeah, man, I've been like, look, I mean, since '96, I've had either T1 access or, I've always had I've been fortunate in having really good connection to the internet. I was kind of worked in and around it, but it was really lame. By the time they got around to mailing your stupid check for your payment, it was late. I would go in there because I remember telling people in the late '90s that I was making payments from my bank, and they're like, that's not possible. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. And then my payments were late. So by the time they got around to doing it, they mailed it 3 days later. I kept calling the bank, and I'm like, okay, this is not effective use of making a payment. I thought it was cool. It's just the tech hadn't caught up yet.
Man, how were you on T1? I was using Earthlink at the time. My dial-up and
I had a T1 since our office, we had it, so I would always, and that was great for gaming back in the day, man, because I would
we're talking about like what, 98, 99 you had a
95. 95.
95.
95 at a T1.
I was still on AOL.
You're losing all the millennial subscribers.
T1.
Dude, I'm an early adopter on everything,
mail.
man. Early adopter on everything. That's it, man.
Early adopter of a T1 that didn't exist yet.
It did exist.
Huh?
It did exist. We had our
T1,
company. Yeah,
well, not at home though. You're not talking
no,
about
it wasn't
home.
at home. It was my office, but at home I always had the strong bandwidth, man.
You didn't have AOL back in the day, 1995.
I had an AOL in
Game
1992. 1992 and 93 I had AOL, and then I had
the first computer I got was 94.
and then I had
first
CompuServe before that, which was 91, and then I got
CompuServe.
Remember
I
that?
remember CompuServe.
When Mullet's going to be down there, and he's already in the chats telling us we've derailed the conversation. As usual.
No,
As usual.
My first computer was a Commodore 64, but that was back in the 80s.
Wow, man.
I didn't have the phone adapter to plug it into the internet or whatever.
Mine
it
was
was
an
back
Apple
then.
IIe.
I remember in high school, my buddy, he was bragging because he had 2 gigs of hard drive.
Crushing it, man.
He's like, I goes, you got 2 gigs? And I was like, what does that mean?
Right, yeah.
And I got
remember
256.
My parents got a computer. That must have been also in like late 90s. And they got this brand new Sony Vaio computer. It's brand new. It's so awesome. And it was like 200 or 300 megahertz processor. And, I'm like, oh, you're never going to need anything. And it had like maybe a gig of memory. I don't remember, like 4 gig RAM or something. I'm like, this is going to last you forever.
Or the next year and a half.
Like, or like a year later, they're like, this computer sucks.
It's so
It's
damn
too slow.
Man.
Oh my God.
Moore's
so
law,
funny.
man. Every 2 years, everything doubles.
That's right. Now it's going faster, isn't it? I heard someone was doing something, especially like in the blockchain space with fintech and blockchain tech. It's speeding things up faster.
Yeah. Well, I think something else we could talk to kind of get us back on track was the patent that was granted this past week to Ripple, which basically has to do with the way that they can use oracles. An oracle is what connects off-chain stuff. Because if you look at for a smart contract, if you have something on chain, not on the chain like OTC, but if you have something on the blockchain in a smart contract, at some point you're waiting for other things to happen off chains. That's where these oracles come in and make it very powerful. So they were granted a patent on how this oracle interfaces with a smart contract, which is really amazing because it's so funny now that there's been such a delay with Ethereum, and then them, they've just kind of been dragging their feet on this. Out of nowhere, we get Flare with the Spark token. Then we learn that the Spark token, we're not only going to get 1-to-1 because of this People's Fund, this People's Bucket, because Jed's is going into that. There's going to be a distribution to anybody. We're going to end up with 1.125 or 1.2 to 1. So we'll end up with more Spark. What's that?
I saw like a table that showed how much Spark you had. You get this much. How much
Based on
XRP?
the XRP.
Based on how much XRP, but it was 1-to-1. But because they're creating that extra bucket, they're going to distribute. So everyone's going to get the same amount, but it's going to be more than 1-to-1. It's going to be a little bit more based about 1.125 or something like that. But the cool thing is, it's like it keeps getting better. We thought it was 1-to-1. Now you're going to get more than you thought. So
right now, this might have changed, but as of September 17th, there were 7 exchanges that will allow that to happen. You have Altcoin Trader, Anchor USD, BitTrue, CoinSpot, Cred, GateHub, and Uphold. And I believe Celsius now too, right?
Yep.
Have you guys already change or ensure that you're going to get Spark token with your XRP?
As long as you have it on a participating exchange where they'll be able to take that shot. So they're going to take the snapshot on December 12th. So whatever's there, but you can also have it on your ledger too, right?
Yeah. Have you guys done that process?
You know what I don't understand is that doesn't it show that you already own it because it's in the XRP ledger?
Yeah, but
can't they just connect all the wallets?
No, they can't because you have to you make like this basically like this link if it's on your ledger. I know James Rule XRP did a very good tutorial on this on how to hook up your ledger. That's pretty easy to understand. So
Bags did one too.
Bags did one, yeah. I think if you guys look out there, that's probably the best way to take you through it on how to do it.
Do you have to do anything on Uphold, or once it's on Uphold, you're all set?
If you're on Uphold, you're set. So Uphold's one of the participating exchanges. You're fine.
Okay.
But
don't put your coins on exchange, right?
If you're on Celsius, yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no, but it depends. Like if you're on Celsius, for example, they've got insurance. So if you're on, if you're on someone like BitTrue is self-insured. So BitTrue has a public wallet that is transparent and shows how much is in there to cover anything. But the difference with Celsius.network, where we had Alex Mashinsky on the show, he was basically saying that there's a difference between a hot token and cold, right? So hot being online type storage in a wallet versus a cold storage, but they have both of them covered and insured. So a lot of it has to do with the insurance. Now I don't know, Jeff or Alex, when it comes to the Uphold, I don't know what kind of insurance they have, but
they're not, and none of it's FDIC, but they have insurance and they're holding cold storage, whatever they're doing. If they ever collapsed or got hacked or whatever, not collapsed, but if they got hacked, I'm sure they can back everything up, for people. They're going to do the right thing, I would hope. That's what their insurance is for, and that's why it's going into cold storage. But what's great about, like with Celsius right now, I put a limited amount on. I wanted to let it sit for a couple weeks before doing anything else. And I've already got 2 distributions, and the distribution payments based on what I'm holding in there is like, let me see, because it pays out weekly, and I've collected, I want to say about 0.5% per week in interest.
It's not bad.
That's not bad at all. I've got distribution. Let me see if it's 0.5%. It's a total because I had 2 distributions. No, I take that. Well, let's see. What's half of that would be 2. Yeah. So it's actually more than that. It's just under. It's somewhere between 0.5 to 1% per week. I mean, overall, that probably adds up because I've got some Bitcoin, got a little bit of everything to try it out, and as a cumulative, the interest on it's probably going to be about 4% as an average for an annual percent return. That's pretty good, 4%.
No, it's not. I mean, it's very good. It's
what's
phenomenal.
the S&P 500 growing at typically?
I don't think it's growing at that.
I don't know.
I wanted to share this on the screen because I want everybody. There's with liquidations that are happening. XRP Forensics put this out. Scammers are imitating Visa-Vin's tool to help claim Flare Network Spark tokens. The real tool will never ask you to send XRP to a new address. Okay, do not. And Flare basically went ahead and retweeted this. But guys, there's so many people in our community that are getting scammed, and this is a public service announcement. If you're going to be connecting to anything, nobody will ever ask you from Flare, or there's nothing to send XRP to. Just know that that's a scam. I just don't want people getting any hurt. I mean, it's not the right thing, man.
This XRP stuff and money, digital money. This is the future. This is basically, if you were to drop your wallet and it had like $1,000, how many people are actually gonna return that wallet? This is the kind of thing that we're going through, right?
That's exactly it. And that's what scares people, man.
And really, if you think about it, that wallet should belong to you, right? So it should almost make it unspendable. I mean, think about if you lose access in one way, but somehow that address, that wallet, with or without, needing that private key, obviously, but that it should follow you and track you. So there's probably going to be a new mechanism beyond that smart key to where it's going to be done via, fingerprint or, eye scan, or, it has to go biometric somehow. And I think, to protect it, maybe at another level, so you connect your biometric to that key, maybe in that wallet,
or a
so you have
multi-sig.
Or multi-sig. I mean, there's something, you see all these developments that are happening, which makes it even maybe more secure, but stuff like this though, for scammers, man, I mean, it's scary, because normally you put your money in a bank and you're not thinking, the only other scammer out there is the Prince of Nigeria that, just, needed to move $20 million to your account because of something going on with the banking systems in Nigeria. But if you help out, he's going to give you 10% of it. So you're going to get at least $2 million when you help him put 20 million in your account.
The Prince of Nigeria.
Right.
Your help. He's the Prince of Nigeria.
Prince of
I don't know how anyone can get scammed, but I guess people do.
Oh yeah, I mean, stuff happens all the time, and you don't even think about it. When you're least expecting it, that's when it happens. It happens to the smartest people. And you might think you've got everything taken care of, but think about something like that with what they're doing with the Weetzy Wind. You're not even thinking. You're like, okay, it's from, it's his. This is how you connect it. I got to move my digital asset, whatever. And all of a sudden you're caught out there, when you realize that it was a fraud, and they're upping their game too. So the fraud looks more and more professional. It's not just somebody sitting over in Mumbai, giving you a call, about your Microsoft isn't working anymore. And that stuff's still happening.
Yeah, Ella Paul was added too. Ella Paul, they put out a tweet that Ella Paul is now supported if you own one of those. Uphold, BitTrue, GateHub, CoinSpot, Anchor, USD, Altcoin Trader, NDAX, and then...
Oh, wow, they added a lot in the past few weeks.
Yeah, Bitbank, Exodus, SafePal, GMO, Nexo, SBI. These are ones considering eToro. But you notice what you don't see anywhere on there? So there's no Coinbase anywhere on this. So this is a cool graphic that Stetis put out, Stetis.hr. He put some good graphics out. Obviously, the Zum wallet,
no Coinbase,
Ledger, Cred, and Garda wallet. So that's what they have so far.
Somebody wants to keep that Spark token.
What's that?
Because Coinbase has to keep that Spark token that gets sent out. Why they're not on here?
I don't know. I mean, it's they just don't seem to participate in a
Or
lot of
something like they had with BTC, where everyone will get Bitcoin Cash, and they kept all the Bitcoin Cash until they got sued or something like that.
Yeah,
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
Is that Coinbase? Plus, they had Bitcoin. They had Bitcoin Cash and also BSV. They did an airdrop of BSV on Coinbase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ella Paul is one of them. So they have. I don't know about Trezor. I don't know if that's part of it or not, but I know that.
So Chip, if you're on the Sum wallet, can you just leave it there? You can just put it on your Sum wallet.
I believe so, but
you don't have to do anything. You don't have to take action.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure about that, because I've kind of been putting this off, going like, there's time. I've seen some of the, like you said, there's been some cool. I know there was a blog post I think that Vitzvin put out about how to do it. I think there's something about the Zum. And make sure you keep that wallet updated too. They just released a new update for that next week, squashing a bunch of bugs and whatnot. But
hey, you know what? We should have a vote in the On the Chain community to change Weetzy Wind's name to Will.
Will Wind.
Will Wind.
How about
only
Whirlwind?
because nobody can ever pronounce it. You know, everyone's always stumbling over it. No one knows. But if it just will wind,
How about
that'll be a
Whirlwind?
real whirlwind. Just make it easy. So from now on in OTC, we'll just refer to him as Will. We'll say, Will.
That's your
All right.
homework, Alex. Yeah, Will. W Wind. Mr. Wind.
I'll say
Mr. Wind, I
Mr.
presume.
Wind. And is it a W or a V?
Nobody knows, man. Vitsavind. Vitsavind, that's how I pronounce it. But who knows? Who cares?
It should be a V, right? Because that W is
Vitsavind.
pronounced like a V.
I think it is
Vitsi.
in Dutch. Vitsavind, something like that.
Is it?
But who
Yeah.
knows?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a Dutch guy.
I don't know.
But
We'll have
you
to
know
learn.
what? By the time
We should
it
probably
opens
study.
up, yeah, the snapshot's gonna. Here's what's funny. It's like, so we know the snapshot's happening on December 12th, right? But we don't know when the actual drop's happening. So I think Sam did I know I talked a little bit about this on one of my videos. Sam did an extensive conversation. That's where we learned about Jed's stash going into this people sort of bucket and will be redistributed to the community. But it'll be interesting to see how many of these. I think there was 45 million total, 45 billion, sorry, and I don't think they're anywhere near that total yet. Let me see what their last. Let me see what
So
their
that means
last.
we got to buy more XRP.
Well, no. Well, yeah.
I need to hold at least $1 billion.
Do you
I'll
know,
be happy.
how much Jed has? How much XRP that guy has?
Yeah, he has several billion on it, but he's only able to offload them. So there's one as of September 28th, there 1.5 billion XRP, and then there's 45 billion total. So we got a long way to go. Because remember, a lot of, well, see, the thing about it is, I think that's registered. I think these are ones they can track, but I think if you look at exchanges, because if you have your XRP on an exchange or in a wallet or something like that, I think it's already covered, like on Uphold. I don't know. It's a good question, but I still got to take my ledger and hook it up and so that I can.
Are you going to do Ledger? Are you going to move it to Celsius, Uphold, Coinbase, or
But I
not
am
Coinbase?
considering, well, I am considering Celsius
eToro?
too.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of
Celsius might be a
opportunities there.
cool thing. I mean, I don't know, man. Just having Alex on here and looking at their strategy, what they're trying to do, and just knowing who Alex Mashinsky is. Look, this is his sixth startup. He had two of the largest exits ever for a New York-based startup. One was 1.2 billion, one was 800,000. The guy's not going anywhere, and he's doing everything on the up and up, and he challenges everybody in the community in the DeFi space. Say, look, I'm giving 80% back to our community. If you want to come in and do better than me and run leaner, then you give 90% and keep 10%. But if he's already given away 80% and he's only keeping 20%, and then they just did a raise for equity where they're giving back equity in the company, not diluted shares. When you look at companies and they do these, they go like, oh, you get this percentage. Then they go and dilute your shares by doing new raises and twisting stuff. And then you realize that, oh, your actual percentage gets diluted over time. He's not doing any of that. So
But you want to see it. You don't want to see how he's killing it. I mean, this is insane, right? There's the Cell token, maybe a month or two ago, was hovering around 38 cents.
Yeah, where's it now?
Right now, it's sitting at $1.18, $1.30, $1.33.
And one of the things that they did was, if you were getting your distribution in Cell token, you got a higher percentage. So if you got the 30, if you got like the equivalent of 6%,
Awesome.
and you were getting it in Cell token, then you see that coin double or triple. I mean,
you're living large. I mean, that's big. That's why I want distribution in Cell token. But right now in the US, you can't do it, so it sounds great. But it says that they will, but right now I don't even know if you can buy Cell token. Can you?
I don't think if you're in the US.
Yeah, I don't know. But as of August, it says here, Celsius announced today US-based users will enjoy renewed access to Cell utilities. This announcement comes after a brief pause in access to Celsius to do a full review of its token, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing, but there's no date, no specification there, but it's a big deal because it is a big difference in distribution. When you can do something like that. And it's, man, to me, it's definitely game changing because you're getting a higher percentage return, plus you're getting an appreciating asset or a speculative appreciating asset, because Cell could always go down to zero. But probably not. If you look at the BNB coin, man, when it was down to $12, now it's back to 28, and Binance is killing it. Same thing.
Have you guys bought any of that Uniswap? Did you guys get any of that Uniswap shares?
No,
No.
I've been wanting to. I want to get into DeFi. I want to go into that and look at it. I was looking at the Yearn.finance, and I made a video on it when it hit 29,000. Then it went to 33,000 by the next morning. And I think it might have hit even 39 or 38, whatever. It's 17 right now. Could you imagine if you bought in at that peak, 39 down to 17? And who knows what's going to happen in the DeFi space? Chip keeps bringing it up that it looks like a bubble. We don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of people are going in that direction.
I would suggest, and it's not financial advice. Have you guys looked at Lend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I saw that. What about that one?
I don't know. That's
pretty good.
That's apparently, I think it's the number 2 coin behind Yearn. So very positive coin.
And then
where do you get that one?
I think it's on Binance, right?
Binance has it?
Binance, China.
I think there's a lot of good projects that are really starting to come alive with utility and doing really solving real problems. I do think, the thing about this whole like Yearn.finance or any of this stuff, I think it's survived. I think it's doing well. But again, you got to look at Alex, you brought this up before. This whole cryptocurrency is so tiny right now. It's just a blip, right? And we're so early. Now, if you look at the DeFi space, it's even a smaller niche than that. Yeah. It's really tiny. So, and it's kind of like geared towards like the nerdier people. When I say nerdier in the sense that it's difficult to wrap your head around it, to see, like, to really understand it. You read the white papers, they're very detailed. It's harder to understand. So you got people that are like, developers and a different class of people who go like, oh no, I get it, and they can explain it. But I worry about, down the road. Right now, it's kind of replaced what the ICO was going crazy in 2017. Now you got this DeFi, which is going nuts. But what when regulations come in? How is that going to make a play? And what's going to happen? Is this the DeFi space as we know it today going to be regulated out and just go away? And as many people have heard things like, I made so much money in DeFi. Well, there's always the story about someone who's left holding the bag,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you said this, it's like ICO stuff, right? Back in the...
Well, I'm just saying the fervor, the excitement, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. How many people got into ICOs and all of a sudden the founder, 2 days later disappeared, and there goes their, then $40 million and the coins and everything else. I'm just saying with the whole DeFi space, a lot of it is so complicated. The way that they're staking the stuff, the way that, to me, it's in a way, not all the projects out there, but it almost looks like a Ponzi scheme. Okay, if you're doing this, the next person that gets in here, the other person, like at some point, it's not a sustainable thing, right? How does it sustain itself with the kind of gains that it's going to be getting, unless somebody, I'm not trying to be down on it. I'm just simply saying it's great right now, but at some point there will be people that will get hurt.
Yeah, there will.
Unfortunately, and it could really wipe them out. I mean, a lot of money. And when we see stuff, it broke my heart to see DM Logic. I mean, this is not a guy who doesn't know his stuff. This just goes to show you that this is a very intelligent, community member who knows what he's doing. So this is why we're all really at risk here. We also got to be very careful. And I would just say, look, if you're going to do something, you're not sure about it, reach out to somebody that hey, they might know a little more, or reach out to somebody in the community that you might be able to trust a little bit better, because you shouldn't be down this narrow road yourself.
Yeah, did DM Logic did he lose a lot?
He lost his whole everything he's been accumulating in VET for 2 years.
No.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, the equivalent of 14 grand. Yeah.
He did not do that.
He did. He put out a video. He put out a heartfelt video to Sunny Lou, saying that somebody was putting, it was an official board that he looked at. So without getting into really deep specifics, it was the difference between something that's more like collectible versus like, I think it was like a node that he was looking at, staking. He was thinking he was going to stake his VET, and he was saying that how is this that some scammer could have gotten in there, but it was, some people think it's more user error where they were very specific about what you were getting for the VET versus what he thought he was getting. But he raises the point of, if it's an approved board that's being kind of like put out there by VeChain, how is it that somebody could get hurt like that? And, you know, even because it was misrepresented the way I see it in an approved board. So here's a guy who's just, you look at the video, it's just crushing, man. Everybody, I couldn't get through the video because it breaks my heart, man. It's a guy that I've always felt looked up to. He was always keeping it real. He always put, you know, what he thought about stuff out there. He's a good guy, you know, whether you like him or not. You know, your heart goes out to somebody. This isn't somebody that got into crypto yesterday or last Saturday. It's like, I'm in crypto. Let me just, you know, do something stupid. Oops. Let me just type in the address instead of scanning it. That's not what happened here. So.
No, I like the logic.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's another reason why, you know, regulation is needed. You know, because you think about it, you know, we talked about this on the live stream yesterday, and I brought it up many times before. The approach in a bipartisan bill is that you have, you know, the hot button for the Democrats is consumer protection. Hence, it's called the Consumer Protection Technology Act, or whatever it is, right? But it's all about the consumer, protecting the consumer. So if you're going to bring about regulation, it's not just about, you know, the making the money side. So the Republican side, their hot button is making sure you have, you know, the personal freedom to make money, to invest, to do everything you want to do, to not being, you know, over-regulated. And then the Democrat specific points would be, again, towards consumer protection. You put a regulatory bill together like that, you bring that center stage. Now, all of a sudden, something like that happens, and you can say, well, look, here's the framework. Now, there's probably other laws that are already on the books if his trades were being done in the U.S., you know, and maybe, you know, maybe it was legit, maybe it wasn't legit. You know, I don't, you know, it's hard to say. You know, he would have to talk to an attorney and figure that out. But I think that's, you know, that's the landscape. And Chip, that's one of the things that you're talking about, is where it gets scary. That's the best.
He put, this was his last tweet. He said, I wish I could thank everyone personally for all you did to bring awareness to the problem I encountered with my vet. For those of you who sent me vet, I'm incredibly humbled and grateful. Taking a break for a bit to regroup.
Wow.
So
that's
yeah,
massive.
it's a real bummer that happens, man. It's like this kind of stuff. And, you know, I saw somebody else in our community member that we know who's been a great supporter of this show got liquidated on a Binance.
BitTrue.
Was it? No, it wasn't BitTrue. I thought it was Binance. Was it BitTrue?
They were doing a BitTrue loan, right? It was a margin trade.
It was a margin trade. Yeah, was
and
that
they got
BitTrue,
liquidated.
though?
Yeah, it was BitTrue.
Okay, so ouch. Yeah, so that was BitTrue that happened. So somebody doing a margin trade fell asleep for 2 hours, and in that time frame, got liquidated.
And I don't know. Yeah, it was just like the same, you know, concept if you put it on Nexo or wherever else. But I think in that case with the BitTrue, they were having technology issues, right?
Well, this
Was that
happened,
the one we're talking about, or are we talking about
Yeah,
the Binance, a different one?
but I don't know when it. Let me see here. I'm trying to find it on. I'm not gonna put it on the screen there, but yeah,
Stuff
have
like
my
that. Yeah, stuff like that's scary. I mean, it
No,
really
it says
is.
Binance. It was Binance.
Oh, it was Binance? Okay.
It says, actually, I literally have my entire account liquidated on what I thought was a safe, low leverage trade on Binance.
I like this community, guys. I keep learning from you. I'm not even. I'm just learning these things.
He said, well, I fell asleep for about 2 hours. I'm wrecked and 0 XRP to top it off. My income ceases in about 4 to 5 weeks, so things are not so great. So this, you know, man, I mean, this is what kills me. This is one of the reasons we need regulation so desperately. Yeah. It was
and
Binance.
it's scary though. Here's the, you know, one point. There's good and bad in this. So the digital asset space is amazing because it's brought new people to saving and investing. It's let them learn about economics. All right, learning about stock trading is extremely difficult, and when you play the trading game, it's even more difficult. So a lot of people, and I tried getting into day trading, and I had good days, bad days. It was super nerve wracking. I had I had 4 monitors going, and it was crazy. And I was just like, the hell with this. This isn't fun, you know. And it was so scary. But you know, the thing is that you take that leap of faith and try to learn something new. But what the digital asset space, it's bringing a lot of new people in to invest and save. and then they're either trying to follow the herd, or like with Urine.finance, they're getting in and doing things that are a little, risky, and in margin trading, I don't think I've ever margin traded, in my life. I'm not a super expert trader, but I've never margin traded. I don't want to. I've never traded options. I've always wanted to trade options. I've never traded options. I think that would be awesome. But here, it's too easy. It's like what you just said. He got liquidated on Binance. He might be an expert trader, but the thing is that there's mechanisms in place on regular exchange, stock exchanges, that you have to have a certain asset level before you can even, participate in margin trading. You have to either be accredited or whatever it might be. But there, and that, so I think that's, I want everyone to have freedom to do whatever they want to do and invest. And if you take the risk, hey, you know what, you took the risk. But at the same point, there should be some responsibility on the exchanges to make sure that the people that are trading margin, at least there has to be some caution, warning, whatever, don't mess around with this, or there needs to be something. It has to be self-regulated, I guess is my point, which is the issue that we had with Nexo, and even when we brought Alex on, the question we had with Celsius, and I still have issue with that, with BitTrue and all of them that are doing the lending, where you can put up 2 for 1, you can borrow against your asset, but it's a margin trade. Yeah, and if you're not fully aware, it's there in the background, but it's not clear, and I think that has to be changed a little bit, a lot.
My accountant friend, he was like he was saying margin trading is like the best way you can make money. I was like looking at him, I go, you're crazy.
Did he make money?
Huh? You probably can.
He make a lot of money, yeah.
Well, yeah, but again,
you know what you're doing.
Risk is high.
You have to know what you're doing. As long if you know what you're doing and you're willing to take that zero out, get liquidated risk.
But even if you know what you're doing, I don't care. A lot of it is it's like shorting a stock too. It's like, okay, you could, if it goes the wrong way too, you short something and it moves the other way, you're done. So you're basically playing with stuff where you don't care. It's like, it's FU money. You just like throw it away. You don't care. You can't be bothered. But for most human beings on the planet, that's not generally an option, where you want to be playing around with something. You're investing a little money. You could afford to lose it, but your game plan is like, let's just flip the risk level up to 11, and hopefully that might be something. But anyway, listen, what I wanted to say is we're getting ready to go to the after show on specifically, we have it. It's an after show exclusive on cinnamon.video. The link is below. We're going to go over there. We're going to continue this conversation because we want to get into Alex's channel. We want to do some dissecting and really open this guy up, right? So, Alex, I want to thank you for being on here. You're one of the good guys out there. You make me, I need a lift. And when you get on there and start talking about it, I really enjoy what you bring to the space. And dude, it's not right. We need to get you up over 500 a minimum. You should have 4, 5, 10,000 subs because I enjoy what you do.
I appreciate it. Oh, we have
we got a visitor.
There he is.
Is that your son?
Huh?
Is that your son?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Here's the one. Have you opened up an XRP account for your son yet?
I'm holding his account. No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
But I am holding. He has part of my bag. So
yep,
good for
great.
You, man.
Yeah, I set one up for my son on Uphold and made it specific, kind of say, because you can do separate wallets.
Yeah.
On Uphold. I want to do that with Celsius, but we can talk about that another, where you can have multiple wallets.
Yeah, we can.
So you can't do it.
So in closing, Alex, anything you want to say on the way out? I mean, tell people about your channel. Tell kind of what your streams are like, so that they can enjoy them as well.
Yeah. So basically, I just think about what I'm gonna be saying. That once I start the YouTube, that's when I start talking. It could be about anything. Definitely more so on XRP, but it's just what I feel is happening in the cryptocurrency space at that time. And I appreciate you, Chip and Jeff, for having me on the chain, and appreciate you guys promoting my channel, Alex D Vlogs.
LXD
That's
Vlogs,
awesome.
man. Yeah, it's great, man. I appreciate you coming on, and we wanted to have you on here for a little bit, so it's cool. Thank you for making this work time-wise and everything. So everybody check out Alex D Vlogs, link below. Check him out, man. He's a good guy. He's one of the good guys out there. He should, let's see how many subs we can get him, but you guys will enjoy it. I love how he finishes every single one, because I feel like we can all connect with that. And it makes me laugh every time, which is good, man. I always enjoy a good laugh, Alex.
You gotta check the channel to understand. When I made, it was like, when I made my first video, I just did that, and it just stuck for me.
But it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
That's awesome. It's fantastic.
So, Jeff, take us out of here, would you please?
Yeah. How do we find the after segment?
Don't worry.
The backstage. Where's that?
You'll be able to find it, no problem. You'll be able to find it, and Alex, I'm gonna send you the link right now. So
I know how I'm gonna get there. How's everyone else gonna get there?
How everyone else is gonna get there is gonna go to Cinnamon. The link is below. They're gonna click it. It's also being dropped in the chat, and you're gonna click on that, and you're gonna be able to go watch the after show exclusively on Cinnamon. You don't need you don't have to have a Cinnamon, the $5 or $10 subscription, Coil subscription to do it. It's open to everybody. Please go over there, jump in there, put some comments on there, and let us know what you think, people.
Check it out.
And I will
That's
close.
awesome.
I will close this one out. So everybody, au revoir for now. Jeff, anything?
That's it. I just want to say I appreciate everyone being here. Again, another awesome Sunday evening roundtable with the On the Chain community. Thanks, Alex, for being here with us. And let's go check out this conversation in the green room backstage. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah,
over
backstage, baby. So anyway, hey, listen, I'm gonna end this one, Jeff. You know what I mean, right? Click. I'll end it.
Look at this. I'm gonna do it hand free.
Okay, guys, go join us. Come on, walk over there. Get your walking shoes on. We'll go. Okay. Be there in a second. See ya.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.